Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer here at the Steven Singer Studios. Phillies absolutely drop the hammer on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Holy Moses. Eagles make yet another trade, this one with Jalen Reagor going to the Minnesota Vikings because Howie Roseman has a phenomenal sense of humor. And CD Deuce addresses the media for the first time. Also, we talked about it yesterday, but I'll show you this real quick, just out of the gate. Boom. Just RJ Ochoa of Blogging the Boys. I think I said yesterday Blogging Dem Boys, but Blogging the Boys has some high praise for the Eagles front office. And this was after the CD Deuce acquisition. And he was defending the Eagles to his audience, saying that the front office is elite, and basically the Eagles know what they're doing and the Cowboys do not. So I figured, oh my God, a Cowboys writer who wants to talk about some real talk with the state of the Cowboys and the state of the Eagles at the present moment in the NFC East. So RJ Ochoa will join us a little bit later on and let us know what's going on down there in Big D and what's going on with Dak Prescott, what you fantasy owners, by the way, might expect from Ezekiel Elliott in the upcoming season, and what they're going to do with this offensive line. And yes, we always root against the Cowboys. There is definitely not another team that I root against more than the Dallas Cowboys. That I can tell you with absolute sincerity and assurance. And hearing the way he describes how that team is run makes you feel a lot better about how the Philadelphia Eagles are run. Because I know we put everything under the microscope. We analyze everything. But hearing somebody else's point of view and hearing how they'll look at our front office and look at Howie Roseman and go, if we could just foresee the problem instead of waiting for the problem to show up. Solve the problem before it happens. Anticipate the problem. Solve it before it becomes a problem. And that will be right with the world. Plus, Jason Peters in Dallas working out, getting a look-see from the Dallas Cowboys. So there you go. Let's start it off with the Phillies. Folks, it was an 18-2 drubbing of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and maybe the Phillies are ready to love us again. I said yesterday they don't love us. They just don't love you. They don't love me. They don't love you. They just want to go out there in Arizona in the desert, and they want to lose. They want to leave us parched for victories. We want victories here. And they get one last night. They lose this series. And like if the Phillies would have won this game even, 10-5, whatever, 10-3 and whatever. But I just would have looked at it and be like, well, who cares? It doesn't matter if they won. They already lost the series. You shouldn't lose the series to a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks. And 18 runs kind of grabs your attention. And I'm not, hey, look, box scores are boring, but sometimes they can be impressive. Here it is, snipped off of ESPN. Every starter in this ball game with multiple hits. Marsh had 3. Hoskins with 3. Harper with 3. Schwarber with 2. I mean, just look at this. Is insane. Runs, RBIs, everybody scoring. It's ridiculous. Getting into the ball game, the only guy that didn't come up with a hit was that Nick Maton character. See you later, Nick Maton. Wasting everybody's time not getting a hit in this game. 22 hits in total in this ball game. 18 runs scored. All, like I said, all the starters got hits. It was ridiculous. And what's really wild about this, go ahead and look next to RBIs and in between RBIs and walks, 0 home runs. An 18-run ball game. 0 home runs for the Phillies. Now, what matters most? The wild card standings here. The Braves are still 7.5 up right there. Phillies a half game up in their wild card spot. Padres won. Padres still 2.5 games up on the Milwaukee Brewers. So the Brewers lost yesterday. So Phillies still in the second wild card spot. They take a much needed off day today before they start their series in San Francisco with the Giants. And I recently saw that Andrew Knapp, former Phillies backup catcher, got called up to the Giants. I didn't even realize he was with the Giants, but apparently he's in the Giants farm system, and he got the old call up for this series with the Phillies. Isn't that adorable? Way to go, Gabe Kapler. That's nice. So Philly, look, bottom line is they got the win. Bailey Falter, we got to talk about here for a second. Yesterday goes another 6 innings, has to leave the game in the 7th inning, had a little tightness. Nothing, it's precautionary. So that's what they're looking at right now. Rob Thompson said after the game last night. So it should be okay. But this guy has been great. Phillies have won 4 in a row while he's been the starter. And I go back to like that Mets series, for instance. He was your ace in that series, meaning he was the best of the 4 pitchers that you actually put out there on the bump against the Mets. He comes out in this game and he plays the role of stopper, which is something I didn't think I'd say about Bailey Falter. I thought this guy would be back end of the rotation guy, a spot starter, call him up, start him, send him back down, call him up, start him, send him back down. With Zach Wheeler being out, this is now given the Phillies the option of if whether or not Zach Wheeler needs we give him another 5 days. Bailey Falter will start that game just to be cautious. I'm not saying take Zach Wheeler's spot in the rotation by any means, but it does give the Phillies the option to say, all right, well, you know what? We don't want to rush anything with Zach Wheeler, and Bailey's pitching fairly well here. Maybe we'll just have him be another start, and Zach, you take another week. Maybe that'll be the case. Hey, look, yesterday, I had cracked open this microphone, and I had said to you that I just want the Phillies just get us a win before September. Just put one more win in your back pocket before evil September starts creeping in. Today's September 1st. Take a nice little off day. Get things started again against the San Francisco Giants. And then just roll through September. Make us all have those warm and fuzzy feelings. Just roll right through it. I know some of you might have checked out of last night's game simply because they had already lost the series. I know I wasn't as into it as I was the previous 2 games because I wanted the Phillies to win the series. But I was laughing, especially in that, the 5th inning was one of their 2 4-run innings. And then you go into the 8th inning of last night's ball game, and they score a total of, what was it they ended up with? 7 runs in the 8th inning. It was just a complete stomping last night. And no, it only counts as 1, unfortunately. You get beat 18-2, it only counts as 1. You lose 18 or you win 18-2, it only counts as 1. So looking at this series, it's just a damn shame the Phillies lost it. They broke a 7-game losing streak in this in Arizona, so that's at least nice. They get that off the old schneid there, so that's fine. But overall, good. They won. They scored 18 runs. The box score is adorable. But when it comes down to it, they did the thing that they shouldn't do anymore. They played down to their opponent. And that's ultimately going to be my takeaway from this series. It's not going to be an 18-run performance. As much as I'd like it to be, I wish I could enjoy it more. We're always screaming for this lineup to start bashing and mashing again. Well, they certainly did that last night, just without a home run, which is just probably the craziest stat of all of them. Absolutely insane. Phillies and Giants back at it. 10:15 start time. Tomorrow night, as the Phillies will look to get things going again. And also they snap a 3-game losing streak yesterday. So overall, so that's also important. Kyle Gibson set to get the start against Alex Cobb in San Francisco when they start up that series. Yesterday, I did an emergency show. And I love that expression in the digital world, whether you do a podcast or a web show, whatever it might be. Emergency show. The world will not rotate on its axis if I don't get on right now and talk about Jalen Reagor. Howie Roseman is having the best offseason he has ever had, period. Ever. Since he has had final say of the Eagles roster, he has had the best offseason he has ever had. Now, this is all, I'm just talking about the paper here. All right, I'm just talking about the paper. I'm talking about looking at the 53, looking at the roster. That's all I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about the team he assembled when they won the Super Bowl, because ultimately that ended up being the best roster that he ever assembled. Because you think about the guys that they brought in, everybody hit on that roster. Everyone they traded for, everyone they signed, everybody hit. LeGarrette Blount was an offseason signing. They brought him in. Even during the season, they traded for Jay Ajayi. Before the season, they brought in Chris Long. Everybody was a big contributor to that team. Nick Foles comes in, only helps you win a Super Bowl. Not a bad offseason there, Howie. That was, start to finish, the best job Howie's ever done. Quite obvious. They won a Super Bowl. But if we're just talking about a good old paper, this is the best offseason. Look, we talked about a couple different things here. We talked about going into the preseason. We talked about going into training camp. Man, that safety spot, that's worrisome. Enter CD Deuce. Jalen Reagor's not really going to be here another season, is he? traded yesterday. Adam Schefter puts out the tweet. And all of Philadelphia rejoices. Eagles sending Jalen Reagor to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for a 2023 7th-round pick and then a conditional 2024 4th-round pick that would de-escalate to a 5th-round pick if certain statistical marks are not met, sources tell ESPN. Jalen Reagor. Here's how, as I open the show, Howie Roseman has quite the sense of humor. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside gets traded to where? And then later cut. Seattle. Who did we always compare J.J. Arcega-Whiteside with? That would be a one DK Metcalf. Hey, J.J., go be teammates with the guy that everyone was comparing with. See you later. Cut 2 weeks later. Hey, Jalen, who's everyone comparing you with? Oh, would that be Justin Jefferson? I'm trading you to the Minnesota Vikings, where you're going to be rocking alongside Justin Jefferson. Rocking. Good luck to you. There's a little bit of sense of humor, I believe, in Howie Roseman. Look, one time it happens, coincidence. But then you look at the fact that they just turned around and traded the guy that they traded for. Is Howie trying to make a point? Because J.J. Arcega-Whiteside ends up getting cut from Seattle. They trade him to Seattle, obviously, to team up with DK Metcalf. And you're like, all right, funny coincidence. Then they get rid of the guy that they just traded for, so they almost nullify the trade. And then they go and do the same thing with Jalen Reagor. Twice, what do you need? 3 times for it to be something that's not a coincidence? Okay. I think Howie's trying to make a bit of a point or just a joke, because Howie likes to make the jokes, as we all know. I'm beside myself. I'm absolutely beside. I saw that. I just started laughing. And then I was like, now I got to do an emergency show. But I am thrilled with this. Look, the Eagles get back, 2 picks. And if they get a 4th-round pick in return, great. They get a 7th-round pick, fine. Take a flyer. That's fine. But I know a lot of people look at this and go, well, you should have drafted him in the first place. You should drafted Justin Jefferson. And you are correct. You are right. There is no stratosphere where you are wrong in saying that. But what have we been asking for? Especially going into this year. Admit the mistake. Acknowledge the mistake. Move on from the mistake. Yes, did you end up using a 1st-round pick and 2 years later turning it into a possible 4th and 7th? Yes, that's exactly what happened. But you know what that's better than? Waiting for Jalen Reagor to come around here in Philadelphia again, because it ain't going to happen. It was like one time I felt great about Jalen Reagor last season. You know what it was? It was when Jalen Reagor was a running back. That's when I felt good. That's when they used him on jet sweeps for like a dozen plays, and at least it felt like that in Detroit. I was like, oh yeah, maybe as a running back, this guy will work out. No, not so much. The Eagles made the right decision. They didn't hold on. We played the cut for you yesterday about, they're talking about Jalen Reagor really working hard in practice. He's here every day at practice. He's doing great. It was like they were trying to sell themselves on Jalen Reagor still. And then this trade was apparently just around the corner. Who knows if they were already flirting with the Vikings about this potential trade. But bottom line is, he's no longer here. He can no longer hurt you, Philadelphia. He can no longer hurt you, Philadelphia Eagles fan base. And I'm sure some of our friends in the chat here will be having themselves a grand old time when it comes to the Reagorisms that I'm sure we're due a little bit later on in the show. So that'll be a fun little topic for our chat. Good morning, everybody in the chat, by the way. I just think, I don't think you could look at a offseason Howie Roseman had. Now, I will say this. I have come around on the, knock on wood one more time, dream team comparison of 2011. I don't even acknowledge it much anymore, but I know other people do, so I just want to address it for a second. The thing that's a saving grace in all of that is the obvious thing. That was the lockout year. Not only was it the lockout year, you got no help from your 1st-round pick, which was a 26 overall pick, if I remember correctly, with Danny Watkins. So you didn't get any help there. But this team, as of right now, has had a full training camp. They've had a full offseason. CD Deuce coming into effect is obviously a new thing. But in terms of the build, most of these guys have been around. I'm feeling pretty damn good about this Eagles team and everybody being on the same page. And that paper that I just praised a second ago will translate not just from looking good on paper, but looking good on the field as well. That's where I'm at when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Now, one of the guys that is new to the nest is CD Deuce, who, by the way, yesterday, call him CJ, call him CD. That's Dave Zangaro was right out of the gate with that. Dave and I think alike. Like, you just want to know what the person likes to be called and how to pronounce his name. Like, that's kind of I think that's a proper avenue to go when you're meeting somebody. So good old CD Deuce takes to the microphone yesterday at the NovaCare Complex to talk about getting traded, talk about learning a new playbook, learning a new scheme, and also talking about playing the safety position. Here he is yesterday talking about those new roles and new playbooks that he's getting right here in Philadelphia.
I'm a ball player. It's just football. I've been playing this since I was like 6 years old. So just getting in, staying in, putting a little bit overtime. Like you say, I'm new here. I got 10 days before the season starts. So coach has been A1. Players been A1. They've been helpful. Like first day of practice, I was out there flying around with the guys. So got some 1 reps, got some 2 reps. Everything felt natural. Everything felt like I was back in high school or middle school again, just out there playing like a kid, having fun.
What about playing the safety position, which I guess is, something you haven't done too often?
I mean, you get to see more of me. You get to see more of me, that's all.
Is that your natural position, would you say?
I'm a football player. Anything, throw me out there. You can put me at corner, safety, nickel, linebacker. I'm whatever coach put me out, I'm out there 110%. Just ready to play football, help the team win the division.
Come on. I just think the guy is going to have a lot of fun here, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun watching him. Just let me play football. I bring it up all the time with Hassan Reddick. Hey, Hassan, when are you at your best? When I'm allowed to be aggressive and play fast. Hey, CD Deuce, when are you at your best? Just let me play football. Been doing this since I was a kid, so let me go out there and play football. What about safety position? Guess you're going to see more of me. All the confidence in the world. All the confidence in the world. Bring it, man. Bring it. Now, I don't think I haven't played Madden in a while. But if trash talking was an attribute, I guess he would be a 99. He'd be up there. It got brought up at the press conference yesterday, as you would assume. And this is where he was talking about the trash talk that he brings to the field each every day and how it helps him keep his energy up.
CJ, how far back does the trash talking go with your game?
You don't go back too far. I played football before I started talking.
Was that in the pro thing or college or high school?
It's just like anything. When the game gets down to a heated situation, your competitive nature just comes out, and it shows you who really loves the game of football. If you're not passionate about what you do, then why are you here? Why are you on the field in between those lines? I think the passion and fire I bring to the team is just something that it's not coached. You gotta love it. If you don't love it, then I can't tell you nothing about it.
They can't teach you to trash talk, folks. It's just a natural thing that comes to them. Out there on the field, he gets competitive, gets late in the game, things are close, things are tight. Start flapping the trap. As long as it doesn't get him in trouble, as long as it doesn't get flagged, anything like that, then we're all fine with it. Then we can all have fun with it because we're going to be doing the same exact thing while we're sitting on our sofa or at Lincoln Financial Field. We'll be doing the same exact thing. It's great. You absolutely love it. Now, you guys know how much I love Darius Slay. I find him wildly entertaining and also pretty damn good corner above all else. How about that? So the comparisons are being made. Is this going to be the loudest defense in the NFL? You got Brandon Graham, you got Slay, and now you have CD Deuce lurking in the secondary as well. But now you have to ask yourself, who is the better trash talker? Who's louder? Who's the guy that's going to dominate that conversation when push does come to shove late in the ball game? Darius Slay. Slay was asked about who is louder yesterday. And this settles it, I think. And I didn't know there was 2 versions of this, but apparently there is. Here's Slay on him versus CD Deuce.
Who's louder?
Who louder?
Yeah, you were.
See, I'm more of a nice loud. He more of a that kind of loud. Yeah. He got that energy. He got a lot of swag, man. So I'm more of a cool, loud guy. He more of a letting his presence be known kind of guy.
Nice loud. Am I nice loud or am I just loud? I think I'm just loud. I think I'm just loud. But anyway, I know what Slay's talking about there. CD Deuce, when he walks in a room, wants everyone to know that he's there. CD Deuce, when he's on the field, wants everyone to know that he's there. He wants people, he wants receivers, he wants quarterbacks knowing he's out there trying to make them look bad and does not shy away from 1 second of that. Darius Slay, I think he's fine if he's the quietest man in the room. He doesn't have to be out there. He doesn't have to put himself out there. He's okay if he's the quietest guy on the field. He makes a play, he's going to let you hear about it. He's got a history with a receiver. Oh, he's going to let that receiver know about it. But when it comes to being loud just for the sake of being loud, I don't think that's where Slay likes to lurk. I think he doesn't mind being in the shadows every once in a while and then bang, stepping up and making a play. But CD do everything. Oh boy. I think it's going to be, as I compared him to yesterday in terms of just the emotion on the field. He's giving me major Jalen Mills vibes. Major Jalen Mills vibes. I think he's more talented. Let's get that out of the way for the people who think I'm downgrading the guy. But I think he's more talented. But I think in terms of that energy and that vibe, that's what he's going to bring to the football field. And I am really curious to see how he does perform in this role. Not a safety at the NFL level. Came out in 2019. One of the other funny things he talked about was how Howie Roseman talked about how they really liked CD Deuce at Florida. Go figure. Howie Roseman, a Florida guy. And had a great pre-draft conversation with him. So yesterday, CD Deuce was asked about that conversation with Howie Roseman. What do you remember about him? And he goes, I remember a Florida guy. And he reminds, this is what CD Deuce said, Howie Roseman reminds me of myself. What? I can't really see those two guys being compared other than they went to Florida together and they both like football. But that apparently CD Deuce was like, yeah, I see a lot of myself in him because we're both outgoing guys. We both like to have conversations. We both like to talk, whatever. And I'm like, man, okay, I don't see that part of it, but okay. All right, both Gators. You're both Gators and you both love football. That's pretty much where I think your comparisons end. But no, he sees himself in Howie Roseman. So how about that? But yesterday, I thought he did a great job addressing the media, gave us a lot more reason to think that this guy can actually handle that transition from safety, from mainly a slot corner to a safety and go back to more of the role that he played when he was at Florida playing for the Gators. So I look forward to seeing him on the football field. And all in all, the Eagles did exactly what they needed to do, upgrade the safety position. And at the same time, they rid themselves of Jalen Reagor and that mystique that was lurking on offense. Talking about things all the time, lurking on defense. Oh, Jay, he's still at the party? Okay. Can he go to Minnesota? And there he is. He's in Minnesota. Before we get to today's guest, RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys, let me tell you right now about my friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut right here in Philadelphia. Steven has been in the love business for over 40 years in the city of brotherly love, and he's been helping people fall in love with his beautiful diamond engagement rings and perfect gifts around the holidays. So when you go and you see Steven Singer, know that you're going to get something in particular, not just the best dazzling diamond you could ever imagine, but also the perfect price each and every day. The perfect price at Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. All right. We have praised the Eagles. I have acknowledged the best offseason on paper that Howie Roseman has put together. What about somebody who's a little bit more objective? What about somebody who would be more pleased if the Eagles' demise occurred this year? What if it was somebody that wrote for the Cowboys offering praise upon the Eagles front office? Without further ado, RJ Ochoa joins us from Blogging Them Boys. Joining us right now, the Rothman Orthopedics guest line from Blogging the Boys. If you don't follow them to know what's going on behind enemy lines there in Big D, RJ Ochoa joins the show, manager and editor-in-chief of Blogging the Boys, also host of the Ocho and Sports Nation NFL show podcast. So make sure you guys check it out. RJ Ochoa joins us. What's going on, RJ?
Not a lot. I would say it's great to be here on this side of the fence, but I'd be lying. Feels like when Smalls and the kids jumped across and saw the beast, But other than that, I mean, it's football season, and so I'm happy that everybody's happy is really kind of my end game.
There you go. And you know what? Happy football season to you, man. I'm sure this is the insanely busy time of year for you. And I'll get right to it. And I showed your tweets on the show yesterday. For people that missed it, I'll show it one more time. This caught my attention. And, my notifications are going off for the Eagles being mentioned by a blue check mark, and lo and behold, it's you. And I've read your stuff before when trying to educate myself on what type of year the Cowboys will be having and all that stuff. But this is, to me, this is music to my ears to read those tweets about the Eagles winning a Super Bowl, obviously more recently than the Cowboys have, and the front office of the Eagles being elite. Please, by all means, and I know you have a fan base that you serve, and you serve it very loyally, but can you give us a state, at least right now, of the Dallas Cowboys and what your expectations are for them in the upcoming season?
Well, so to kind of set the context here, I obviously keep close tabs on the Eagles. For Cowboys purposes, one of the shows that I host at SB Nation, we have a very unique show that we're very proud of called the NFC's Mixtape. It's myself and Brandon Lee Gouton from Bleeding Green Nation, SB Nation's home for Philadelphia Eagles content. And every week he and I get together, we discuss the state of all four teams in the division. And so BLG and I, we go back and forth a lot. We've had a lot of fun, obviously, as of late, with me kind of commiserating in the state of the Cowboys. And so I think where the Cowboys are at. Look, I would love to sit here. My wife put up the fall decorations in our house last weekend. I would love to just lean into it, and I am excited. I mean, my fantasy drafts are coming up. I know everybody's kind of in that mood right now, and so I want to enjoy it all. But this, the funk that is encircling the Cowboys, it isn't just frustrating. Like sometimes things happen, right? A thing I brought up was the Teddy Bridgewater injury, right? That was 2016. That happens, and I'm sure Vikings fans are kind of feeling like everything we've been looking forward to is completely and totally gone. Obviously, the Sam Bradford trade happens, and things kind of work out for them in some context. This isn't that kind of problem that just showed up out of nowhere. All of the things that are plaguing the Cowboys currently were 100% predictable. They're not even I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm amazing at my job. I know the Cowboys better than anybody else. I saw, I saw the forest through the trees that nobody else was able to see it. And I was, able to identify. No, I'm not a genius. I'm not a smart person. These were incredibly predictable problems that they were going to have. Obviously, the straw that has kind of broke the camel's back at this moment is Tyron Smith's injury last week. He had missed time 6 years in a row. I mean, I've put it in as many clever ways as I can. The last time Tyron Smith played an entire season for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott were in college. Valley Ranch was the Cowboys' world headquarters as opposed to the Star. Barack Obama was president. I mean, The Office had just gone off air, basically. I mean, it's astounding, honestly, how long it's been, and yet they did nothing to prepare for that, right? They cut Lyle Collins. All they did was weaken their tackle depth to prove a point. They were upset with Lyle. Fine, cut him, move on. I don't care. But replenish, restock. They didn't do that. They traded away Amari Cooper. A lot of my followers and readers want me to let that go. Fine, you did it. You moved on from him. Whatever. If the vaccination was a factor, it's your team. Do what you want. Replenish, restock. They all were already shaky at these positions when last season ended. That was a big reason why the season ended for them. And all they did was worsen their roster. And so I just don't understand or respect that mentality. I hate the Eagles with basically all of my soul, but I do respect how Howie Roseman has built this team, how he has said what future problems exist, what hypothetical problems exist. I don't want to be the guy reacting to the problem that has, unfolded in front of me. I want to make sure that we're restocked, we're replenished, and so that even if I have arguably the worst quarterback in the division, all due respect, I have everything around him so that he has an opportunity to succeed. I mean, the Cowboys are almost like we have the best quarterback, so he can do everything. He can mask everything. So that's kind of my opening rant there.
I will say this. I know that there's question marks just real quick about Jalen Hurts. I have a lot of confidence in him, but I will say that he is definitely above Daniel Jones. I'm just going to say that.
I mean, I can, BLG and I talk a lot on the mixtape about, can you see a path? I could see a path towards Daniel Jones having some success, right? If you buy the Brian Dable, Josh Allen effect, right. It's highly possible, but it exists in the world of possibilities. That's okay. Kind of my whole point.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Brandon was on maybe 2 weeks ago. We had a disagreement about Jalen Hurts. He has his opinion. I have mine. I'm a little bit more confident in the young man than he is. And that's with all due respect, as you would say, to Brandon Lee Gouton as well. Love Brandon. Now, overall, though, granted all those problems, the things that they could not fix ahead of time, not seeing the problem ahead of time, you were able to, they were not. What is your expectation for the season, though, when it comes to the Cowboys?
I mean, I know I started off with this, like, whatever it was, like 6-minute long diatribe, like, flaming the team.
Sure.
That being said, it's difficult to look at their schedule, which is applicable to the Eagles as well, mostly, and find fewer than 10 wins. I mean, if you told me the over-under was 10.5, I'd lose a little bit of sleep tonight. I mean, Eagles aside, like say we come to terms, we say that these two teams split that series this year, whatever, that's one win. I think that they probably sweep, if not win 3 of the other 4 divisional games. Let's give them 4 there. They get to play the AFC South. Not afraid of anybody in that division, but I'll give them, 3 to be conservative, right? So we're up to 7. Like the Eagles, they get the Bears and the Lions. I mean, again, you lose games you're not supposed to, but still, that's probably 9 wins. They played the Bengals early. I'm not a big believer in the Bengals myself. I'm a big believer in the Vikings, but a lot of people aren't. Maybe they split those 2 games, whatever. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to find them, because they have one of the, pick whatever you want, top 7, top 8 quarterbacks in the NFL. That is generally a rising tide that does enough to lift all boats towards enough wins. And so they have that piece. They're extremely top heavy. They have Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs. Is that enough? We've seen it be enough with different NFL teams. I don't know. But at the same time, this is an organization that hasn't been to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons since 2006 and 2007. They haven't won double-digit games in back-to-back years since 1995 and 1996. You very well know this is a division that hasn't seen a repeat champion since 2004. And none of those things have anything to do with who the 2022 Cowboys are. But there's still things that exist in the ether and in the universe that you have to kind of fight against. And beyond all that, the roster is weaker. The show is a circus. I feel greatly for Mike McCarthy. I'm not, his biggest supporter, but I do believe he's being asked to make, lemonade with like a wrench and sawdust. It's not the easiest proposition in the world to thrive in the environment that he's in. And so I really have no idea what to expect from this team. And so I try to approach it from a logic standpoint. Generally speaking, the last, you can call it 5 times, the Cowboys have ended a season in a disappointing way, but with some juice. They won the division. They look like one of the best teams in the NFL. Generally speaking, the following year is all about they loaded up. They're coming back. All right, they were short, last year, but they're coming back to finish the job. This is the first time in maybe the entire Jones ownership era that they were a successful team the year prior and that people are completely writing them off. And a lot of it is their own doing, obviously.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that, I see the Eagles as being a team that can win 10 games as well. Do you think it comes down to the Eagles and the Cowboys is really competing for this division? Yeah,
if we go back to what kind of paths can you see? Could I see the Commanders capturing enough of Carson Wentz? I know you've had a lot of Carson Wentz thoughts. That's possible, right? They have Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, and maybe we'll see. Obviously, the running back situation took a tragic turn that thankfully is all right, but that's possible. Maybe their defense, resuscitates itself back to where it was in 2020. Yeah, I don't know that I could see the Giants being a threat. Maybe the Giants are cute enough to play spoiler. Maybe they split it. They did split the series with Philly last year. Maybe they're able to take one from the Cowboys. Who knows? But it's very clearly and very obviously a 2-team race. And it really is something, I'm interested to see, kind of this experiment. Can the 1 of 53 carry a team over the 52 of 53? Because I wouldn't say that Philly has the advantage in all other literal 52 spots, but it does kind of feel that way. It feels like Dak Prescott is Jon Snow versus the entire army coming down the mountain at him.
Oh, are you a House of Dragons guy? You watching the House of Dragons?
Yeah, I'm such a loser that I'm what is everybody talking about? What can I watch so that I can make cool jokes and references about? So that's really my primary motivation towards watching it.
I'll tell you, man, after Game of Thrones ended, the last 2 episodes, the way that show ended, I could not watch it again. I was done. It has left my brain. All the great entertainment I had for whatever it was, 8 seasons, whatever, it was gone in an hour. It was just no warm feelings. I can't watch House of Dragons.
It was a spectacular failure. There's no doubt about that.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So let me who does Dallas point to for the way last season ended? Because just in going back, I watched that play again with Dak, the quarterback draw on the 2nd and 1 from the San Francisco 41-yard line, whatever it was. and he breaks with 14 seconds left. They can't spike the ball. The clock runs out. Who did Dallas point to blame for that final play?
It depends on what you specifically mean, because if you say who did the players, who did the team blame, they blamed everybody else, right? Like as soon as that was over, and that was a really, kind of unfortunate element to the way the season ended. They were the only team who lost to the Cardinals over the last 5-6 weeks of the season, which includes the playoffs. After that game, they came out and said, we were up against more than the Cardinals, today. It's like, dude, come on, you guys have a little bit more self-pride here. And after they lost that game, they pointed at the officials. Why is the official grabbing the ball? Why is the official in the mix? Why are you doing this? Why are you risking this? I mean, this has been well chronicled. Obviously, we talked about it a lot at the time. Larry Fitzgerald's kind of the king of grabbing the ball, handing it to the official. Everybody's seen him do that a billion different times. And so what was frustrating about that was Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott. I mean, everybody hates McCarthy, but everybody loves Dak, generally speaking. But even Dak was saying, yeah, we practiced this, whatever. Well, you were clearly practicing it incorrectly. If these were the mechanics and the sequence that you were practicing, are you really doing this the right way? Just 2 weeks ago when the Cowboys scrimmaged with the LA Chargers, Dak was asked by Peter King if he would change anything about that last moment. And he said no. And I respected his answer, but he said that he thinks everybody involved failed. The coaching staff, the players, the officials. Dude, the officials did not fail. This idea that, Roger Goodell sits in his office, what ways can I screw the Cowboys today? I've never understood how Cowboys fans can believe this. But so I don't know. I don't know if they're kind of grown from that did kind of stem from McCarthy. They were never a team. I'm not going to sit here and say that Jason Garrett was an amazing coach, but they were never a team that kind of pointed fingers under him. McCarthy's kind of been that way, even dating back to Green Bay. So I would say that they blame officials. I would say some fans, kind of fall in line with that. I think some fans blame McCarthy. Some fans blame Dak. The only person who kind of ever skates off scot-free, it's ironic because Scott was his mentor, is Kellen Moore, and that was Scott Linehan. I mean, Kellen Moore gets no criticism. The offense is bad. It's Dak. It's McCarthy, whatever. Tony Pollard isn't utilized more. It's the Joneses. They want to feed Zeke. And all those things are true, but Tony Pollard's been a Cowboys running back for 3 years. Kellen Moore has been the offensive coordinator for 3 years. The only common denominator in Tony Pollard's career is Kellen Moore. There have been different head coaches. There have been different quarterbacks, obviously factoring the time Dak was hurt, different star receivers, different whatever. The only thing that has been completely and totally consistent is the play caller. And yet we sit here and say, how come they're not using him more?
Gotcha. Spectacular failure. The way that season ended, to use your phrase when it comes to Game of Thrones. One of the last things specifically here about the Dallas Cowboys, what do you expect from Ezekiel Elliott? He's a guy that seems to have fallen off the planet as of late. What's going on with him?
When you have this discussion, it turns into somebody either thinks he's trash or he's a Hall of Famer, right? The truth is obviously somewhere in between. He's still a functional running back. He's incredibly overpaid. You could argue that any running back is overpaid. And so that makes Zeke, incredibly overpaid. Very happy that he was able to get his, secure the bag. Obviously did it at the expense of logical team building philosophies. And the Cowboys are doubling down, tripling down. Yesterday, Jerry Jones was on the home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan, said they want to run the ball more than they have in recent years. That's what they believe. And you would think that would lend itself to say, okay, well, they want to run the ball. That's kind of dumb, but they have Tony Pollard. They have one of the more explosive running backs in the NFL. Maybe this can work for them. It can't, because they want to run the ball their way. They are the Frank Sinatra of NFL front offices. They want to be the feed Zeke Cowboys. I mean, he's their guy. And I mentioned Tyron hasn't played a full season since they've operated out of the Star. I mean, Zeke has been the face of them. I mean, his rookie season was their first year at the Star. He is, along with Dak, obviously, the kind of face of this era of the Cowboys. He's one of their guys. And so the Joneses, there's a lot of nepotism that tends to happen. I mean, they let Jason Witten return to the team after, being in the broadcast booth for a year and immediately just let him start. With Dalton Schultz on the team, and obviously nobody knew who he was really at that point, but still, I expect them, I mentioned fantasy, draft Zeke, and people say, why? He's trash. Because he's going to get 500 carries. They're going to drag themselves to Zeke Elliott having 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns, because that seems to matter more than other things.
Gotcha. By the way, my audience is going to want me to do this, so I'm going to do it. You mentioned Frank Sinatra. He's kind of the patron saint of the show. He sits over my shoulder pretty much the entire time. Now, That's interesting when it comes to the Cowboys, comes to Zeke, and I got my fantasy draft coming up as most people do. So, yeah, I'll be definitely eyeing Zeke. I'm not afraid to draft a Cowboy. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. You guys have the Dallas Cowboys, that is. They have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming up for their regular season opener coming up on Sunday night. You guys kick off. It's the second straight year you're facing Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Do you have an early prediction for that game?
He's 5-0 against the Cowboys. I mean, he's one man, but he's kind of the man.
Yeah.
And so I'm very fascinated. I mean, I think this defense is going to regress. Like, there's natural regression from a volume standpoint. That's something that's been talked about a lot. I still think they'll be pretty good. I'm excited to see, we didn't know who Micah Parsons was when they faced off in the season opener a year ago. So that'll be really interesting. I have no idea what this offense is going to be. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen this offense in any preseason game, even the scrimmages they had with the Broncos and the Chargers. Somebody's been hurt. Somebody's been this. And if the Cowboys fold, there will be a lot of don't worry, Michael Gallup's coming back, whatever. But it's we're at a fork in the road, and we're either like going further into chaos and turmoil, or we're steadying the ships for a week until the Cincinnati Bengals come to town, of course, with the tackle who the Cowboys scorned in Lyle Collins.
Awesome. RJ, would you indulge us by playing the Farzy 5 with us here as a first-time guest of the Farzy Show?
I will. I actually asked if there was a Farzy 6, but you denied me and said there were only 5. So,
no, we got time, baby. Time.
Right.
Gotta move. All right, let's bring in the band. Fellas, you want to kick it up? I know it's been a minute since you guys actually started playing. There we go. Thank you. All right, here we go. RJ, vlogging the boys. Best job before your writing job. Best job before your writing job.
I actually worked at a Dallas Cowboys pro shop. That's where I met my wife. They're retail stores that are all throughout the state. It's a longer story, but the Cowboys actually own their retail rights. They can do some unique things. So they're in malls, airports, things like that. Literally a store, 100% Cowboys official shirts, jerseys, caps, home accessories. So that was a lot of fun. Got a lot of, they have pretty good discounts. So stocked up for this job in the process.
Look at that. Look at that. The birthplace of romance, apparently. That's beautiful. Go-to fast food place. I am born and raised in the great state of Texas, so I will go Whataburger. I'm a Whataburger loyalist. I hate greatly that Patrick Mahomes has taken it to Kansas City. It feels awkward. They don't deserve it. If I have to go national, Chick-fil-A, I have no idea how they do things so quickly. My pleasure forever. Yeah, I was just going to say, because they're kind. That's how. I had a bad experience with Whataburger in Houston. It wasn't always cracked up to be. Maybe it was because I had to walk like a half a mile in the rain just to go to one. But yeah, it was okay. What do you recommend? What's your order there?
If it's your first time, you got to go classic, number one, Whataburger. They have some specialty burgers, but you don't jump on a bike without training wheels. You know what I mean? That's a graduated burger that you need to be an experienced person for.
I think I know the answer to this, and perhaps it's working at the Giants pro shop or the Eagles pro shop. I don't know. First date deal breaker. Question number 3, first date deal breaker.
I would say, and I'm really guilty of this, but probably like looking at your phone, like, hey, what's going on? Like we agreed, you know what I mean? We came to terms. We're supposed to be here to get to know one another. I'm looking at my phone because Tyron Smith just got hurt and I have to do a bunch of crap around it, but you have no reason to be doing it.
I love the expression, we've come to terms, like a free agent agreeing. This girl agrees to go on a date with you. We've come to terms on a date where we get to know each other.
That is the true bluntness. Like, we both agreed that we're both hypothetically interested in this. Like, I've considered the hypothetical in my mind. I can see a world. I can see a path like Daniel Jones. And so I'm here to explore that. You're not giving me that opportunity if you're on your phone.
Yeah, both parties, mutual interests, both parties. Mm-hmm. Okay. Favorite city to travel to?
Chicago. I went there for a Cowboys game, which was on a Thursday night. And so it was awesome. Got to see the game with my dad. And then afterwards kind of spend the weekend there. My wife and I actually had a trip planned there right when the pandemic hit. So, since then we've had a baby and he's kind of ruined the travel stuff. So at some point we're all going to, 3 of us, get to Chicago, hit the Windy City, hit a Cubs game, do it all, have the dogs, the deep dish pizza. We'll figure it out. We'll do it with the baby.
Babies. Damper on everything. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, last question for you. Seem like a hell of a guy there, RJ Ochoa. What makes you beep your horn in traffic? I
really can't stand, when you're like going to go straight or something, and there's like a turn only lane next to you, and somebody right before you move to go get off the brake and you're going to hit the gas, somebody just cuts in front. Respect. I understand the like level of efficiency you're using here, but you're also prohibiting the people behind you from turning. Like, you're creating the jam that now exists, and so it's illegal. I'm not a fan of doing illegal things.
There you go. RJ Ochoa, great catch, guys. We can cut it. You guys can go back on your cigarette breaks. Thank you so much. Hot today, as per usual. RJ Ochoa, make sure you guys are following, of course, there at the awesome Blogging the Boys. And also make sure you catch his podcast with another friend of the show right there, and Brandon Lee Gouton as well. RJ, can't thank you enough, man. Appreciate you. And I'm sure we'll talk to you down the line during the regular season.
Likewise, Farzy, thanks for having me. I wish you nothing but sports misery, but other than that, health, wealth, and happiness to you and yours.
Back at you, and congratulations on the birth of your kid, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
RJ Ochoa joining us right there. Ochoa joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Well, I found that very enjoyable. But the unfortunate part about this is that as great as the Eagles front office might be, even elite, as he says, it's basically going to come down to the Eagles and the Cowboys. He's not all that high on Jalen Hurts, calling him possibly the worst quarterback in the division. I still go Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is pretty terrible. We'll see if Brian Daboll, as we talked about in the interview, will be able to, bring the best version of Daniel Jones, whatever the hell that is, out of Daniel Jones. We shall see. But I don't think that Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback in the NFL, in the NFC East, excuse me. And this year, with what's around him, he might be the best quarterback in the NFC East. Not saying that he's more accomplished than even Dak at this point, who is the most accomplished quarterback in the NFC East right now. But with what's around him, including the offensive line and the weapons, we all know the rest of the story. He could show that he's the best quarterback in the NFC East. It could happen. It could happen. By the way, for those that don't remember how last season ended for the Dallas Cowboys, I had to go back and just say, wait, I remember it was a controversial play. How did it go down? And I went back and watched it. The minute I saw Dak Prescott take off on that quarterback draw against the Niners in the WildCard game, I went, oh my God, that's right. I went, this was so bad. He scrambled, 14 seconds left on the clock. He drops back at their own 41, like I was talking about in the interview, darts up the middle of the field, slides, gets touched immediately, like as he's sliding, so he's down. He tries to pop up. They can't get lined up. The referee, who has to spot the ball, runs through the line of scrimmage, holds things up for a second. Then they spike the football with no time left on the clock. Game over. Cowboys out. 49ers advance. And I remember thinking, as I do for everything, oh my God, what if that happened here? Like, I'm thrilled that it happened against the Cowboys. But what if it happened here? How are we blaming Sirianni? Are we blaming Hurts? Are we blaming Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator? Like, are we pissed at the refs for not being fast enough to get downfield? Like, it was just to take off and run in that situation with no timeouts, and for that whole process to take 14 seconds. Oh my God, man. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a crying shame that it happened to the Cowboys. Crying shame. You know what's a crying shame? People that don't use Manscaped. That's a crying shame. It's called a segue. Check out manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off your order, especially for the Platinum Package 4.0. Because, fellas, you want to look your best everywhere, right? That's where Manscaped wants to help you out with their Platinum Package 4.0. It includes Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and it all comes with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks, so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Plus, it also has the Ultra Premium Body Wash, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner deodorant, as well as the Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner. Come on! Anti-chafing boxers, and the Shed Travel Bag that you'll be using to hold the goods that you'll be using to manscape your goods with Manscaped. Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Log on to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzy. That's manscaped.com. How about Freestone Farm CBD? Also use promo code Farzy for 20% off at Freestone Farm CBD, freestonefarmcbd.com. Make sure you check them out. You'll enjoy their incredible strain menu. It has things like their insane tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. The genetics of these guys are off the charts. Also, they grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State. So there's no, so it's all organic with all organic inputs and IPM. Absolutely nothing. Let me repeat. Absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all the plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell is enough to let you know it's CBD done right. And it's the perfect product for anyone looking to take a more natural approach to everything that they put in their bodies. And once again, 20% off with promo code Farzy at freestonefarmcbd.com. Problem in the bedroom, fellas? Blue Chew. BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is an online prescription service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost and completely discreet. Blue Chew's tablets help men combat all forms of ED. And again, Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so there's no embarrassing trips to the doctor or pharmacy, as Blue Chew is shipped right to your home in a discreet package. Here's the Blue Chew process. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive their prescription within days, and it's all done online. Also, Blue Chew's licensed medical providers will work with you to make sure they find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. If you don't like swallowing pills, no problem here. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable, so it's not just a clever name. Blue Chew's tablets are also made right here in the good old US of A. And they prepare and ship directly to your house, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy. Again, here's a special offer for our listeners and our viewers. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code Farzy at checkout and just pay $5 shipping. That's it. You get Blue Chew free, but you got to pay $5 shipping. That's it. But you get Blue Chew free for your first month. Use promo code Farzy. Problem solved. Problem solved, folks. Check out BlueChew.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's jump into the chat check, see how everybody's doing. Mally's leading it off for us. Mally, how are you? Saw your tweet yesterday. You were excited that Jalen Reagor is no longer here. Broken Vessel. What's up, Broken Vessel? Welcome aboard. J-Jaw joins DK. Reagor joins Jefferson. Uncanny. I like a nice uncanny. That's good usage right there. Yes, J-Jaw did the Seahawks. Yes, the Seahawks did cut JJ, I think I might say. But the boop. Oh, he got practice squatted? Is that what happened with J-Jaw? He got practice squatted? Good for him. Farzy, everybody, the Farzy show. PJ chiming in here. Last night was the definition of everybody hits. Some really good swings from Marsh, Farzy. That's true. He did. PJ. Yes, I mentioned the triple. When it comes to everybody hits, if I'm not mistaken, well, first off, I'm not mistaken. I do miss that guy. I loved that. I loved hearing that. It made its way into a video game, and I can't remember which video game it was. The everybody hits guy. Woohoo! For those that don't know, for the kids that don't know, at the vet, I remember, I want to say it was like the last 10 years of the vet. I could be wrong. There was a guy in the stands that would just yell when the Phillies were at the plate, everybody hits, woohoo! And I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great. And it made its way into a video game, and it was some obscure video game. It wasn't like The Show or RBI Baseball or anything like that. It was something obscure like Dan Patrick Baseball or like ESPN Baseball. It was something obscure. I can't remember which one it was. If anyone else remembers, help me out there. Dan Patrick. It wasn't Dan Patrick Baseball. It was ESPN. I think it was Sunday Night Baseball. And it was funny because every time you strike a guy out and every time someone would strike out and swinging, you would just hear Dan Patrick's voice come in and just go, the whiff. That's old school Sports Center right there. That's old school Sports Center. Mullet, everybody hits. Woohoo! Yeah, Marsh giving the goggles on third like Toby throwing Thibault a lob. Yes. Beep. Howie got more for Reagor than Dallas got for Cooper. Yes, he did, Mally. And I know there was different money attached to Cooper there, to Amari Cooper. But Howie's move still wows me. Vikings make fun of us even for but I think they had a regime change, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think it was the same group of guys that were laughing out there in Minnesota. Good morning. Reagor is no longer an Eagle, a Philadelphia citizen. Alex, sorry. Good morning. Reagor is no longer a citizen of Philadelphia. We can all rejoice. The dude is going to flourish and be a top 5 receiver now, says Buddy T-Mac. It crossed my mind. Mullet, Howie with the Easter egg self-deprecating humor trades. Like side B of a bootleg Chris Rock tape, Born Suspect. Whoa! Mullet with the pull. CD2. Good Lord. What was the CD2? What was the Chris Rock movie, the early Chris Rock movie, CB40? I want to say CB40. Mally, you got to love when PJ lets Mark be grown and push the buttons and he still messes up. Speaking of that, hold on one second. Just let me do it. Let me just get a little of this. Gonna be a long day today, folks. I'm going back to the 2 espresso mornings. Let's see here. And that's 2 doubles if you're scoring at home. Reagor with Jefferson. Arcego is Metcalf. Weird. Just kidding. Arcego Whiteside. Cut. See you guys tomorrow. No OT. So I'll have time to listen instead of blips of terrestrial radio. Dan Schwartz. Nice to see you. Good morning, Farzy. Everybody happy Tuesday. Kevin, good morning, buddy. Sean Gillespie, at least he's being honest in enemy territory. He is. RJ Ochoa. Sean Gillespie, I hope the Cowboys never lose McCarthy as a head coach and Jerry Jones as an owner. I'm with you there. I thought Mike McCarthy was I want to claim that I knew Mike McCarthy was a total fraud before everyone else said he was a total fraud. I stake my claim to being the originator of Mike McCarthy's a fraud. I hope the Cowboys never lose to McCarthy. But April, good morning. Jim Grassmeter, good morning. April, did someone say Chris Long? Ewok escape for Zeke Elliott. Hey, Mullet, he could get a promotion there. Sean Gillespie, the last play of the Cowboys is on the play caller. Oh, is on the play caller, whoever that was. Yeah. Maholy King, kill the Cowboys. What's up, Maholy King? Blues true. Oh, jeez. Pots and pans. CB4. That's what it was. Cell block 4. Yes. Thank you, Mally. Mahai Sanchez. What's up? Hi, Mark. My name is pronounced Mihai. Oh, okay. Romanian for Michael. Well, look at that. Mihai. What's going on? Nice to have you in. I got up this morning ready to hear about another Phillies collapse, but then saw 18-2. Big sign of relief after up 8-1. Yes. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if I would have woken up this morning, because I went to bed like right after the 8th inning, I couldn't take a ninth. I was out. But I was like 18 runs. If I would have said, say that they would have only won like 7-4 even. Okay, good. They won. They didn't get swept. Fine. But I'm still pissed that they lost the first 2 games of this series. I'm pissed that they lost this series to a terrible team. And the fact that they scored 18 runs does raise your eyebrows. And the fact that everybody hit, except Nick Maton, that's slouch, is pretty amazing. John Cheeseborough. Jonathan sneaking in the last minute, but I'll save the farewell edition of Reagorisms for tomorrow when my brain starts braining. There you go, John. I was looking forward to it. Mihai. Oh, that's good. Charlie Bramble is also saying that he wanted the same thing as Mihai Sanchez. So Mihai, is your dad Hispanic or Latino? And is your mom Romanian? Is that how we got that going on there, that name? That's a hell of a name. That's an awesome name. Mihai Sanchez. That's a great name. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are fantastic as per usual. Let's get into the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. I'm starting it off with this. This is outside the box, folks. Shohei Ohtani hit his 30th home run of the year last night. He's the first player to go 30 home runs and 100 strikeouts. He's the only person to do that. He did it again this year. And also, last night, Shohei Ohtani, with his 30th home run, became the first player ever to hit 30 home runs and notch 10 wins in a season. I forget who it was, but I want to say it was the beginning of this year. They tweeted something like, I feel like whenever you see something on the Angels, it's always like Mike Trout hit 3 home runs and Shohei Ohtani did something no one's ever done in baseball as the Angels lose to the Tigers 7-3. Like, that's pretty much what it feels like. Here's all these historical stats, numbers, everything surrounding the LA Angels, and they suck. It's a two-man show, basically. It's a two-man show. But yeah, so that happened last night. Phillies off tonight. They start the 3-game series in San Francisco tomorrow with the 61 and 68 San Francisco Giants. You'll be able to see your boy Gabe Kapler. I'm just really excited to see the Phillies again. I'm really excited to see them. I had a really good time with them. Bryce is my bro. I love Bryce Harper. I'm now going to tell you how much I love Bryce Harper without words and only through interpretive dance. Here we go. That's Gabe Kapler. I put that up for a reason. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, Diamondbacks and Giants have identical records. So, hey, Phillies, let's do that thing where you don't play down to your opponents again, please and thank you. Kyle Gibson gets to start tomorrow night against Alex Cobb, as I mentioned. And I mentioned it earlier in the show, but here is again Jason Peters in Dallas. He's 40 years old. Jason Peters could be taking over for the injured Tyron Smith. Jason Peters, who started 14 games, I want to say, for the Chicago Bears last year. Now 40 years old. Not done yet. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Wouldn't mind seeing old JP line up against the Eagles a couple times this year. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. My thanks to RJ Ochoa for joining the show. Had a great time talking to that man. Once again, if you guys want to give him a follow, number one Eagles fan, blogging the boys, RJ Ochoa, give him a follow and all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Jim Hyde, produced the program, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.